So let's talk marketing today. What actually works for landing high-ticket video projects? And to be honest, we're still figuring it out. You know, we've been doing this for 7 years, and we've tried funnels, we've tried paid ads, we've tried email campaigns, LinkedIn campaigns, social media marketing, I mean, all kinds of different stuff. And we're still figuring that out, and most of it was a waste of time and a waste of money. So the harsh truth about marketing for a video company, specifically, you know, when you're selling kind of the 10 to 50K projects, you know, packages and whatnot, is there's only so many things that we've found that have really worked for us. And it comes down to who we're targeting and who our businesses are that we work with. I would say in general, most companies that we work with, you know, don't do a ton of marketing. Some do a little bit, some do more than others for sure. But just in general, most don't have that figured out either. You know, a lot of times marketing is kind of a side thought or an afterthought or something where, hey, we're gonna hire somebody, you know, to kind of take on the marketing and whatnot. But it's always been hard for people, and we meet with businesses literally 4 or 5 times a day, new businesses all over the country, all over the Midwest. And, you know, we dive into what they're doing and what they've done and what they've tried and what works, what doesn't work. And it's kind of eye-opening to really see how few companies can actually track marketing to legitimate ROI and revenue generated income. You know, because a lot of times, you know, people have a marketing budget and they might chalk it up to, oh, it's brand awareness, or it's, yeah, we're staying top of mind. You know, you look back at marketing and you look at the traditional kinds where, you know, print and, you know, billboards and radio and TV commercials. And some of that stuff obviously is still around now. But you think about it, it's very hard to track exact ROI with that. And those companies always just kind of pitched impressions and awareness and top of mind. And if we do it and say it and show it enough times, then people will hopefully come to you, right? Except it doesn't always work like that. And very, very few companies can actually show that. So when you start talking about video and you start talking about marketing to these businesses, they don't know what the heck you're talking about. Is it TikTok? Is it social media? Is it TV commercials? You know, yeah, I get like videos around right now, but I don't think it's really gonna be beneficial for us. Or it might just get chalked up to social media content. Well, yeah, you guys are doing, you know, reels and posting and things like that. And I'm not saying that that stuff's necessarily bad. I'm just saying that's not the kind of work that we go after. And, you know, a couple of videos back, actually click here, the link, talks about, that's something that we actually see in the future as more and more companies bring that in-house to do more of the content creation, and how we are constantly separating ourselves from the rest of the market, really going, hey, let's make videos that are tailored for very specific reasons that companies are using in different ways. And this video won't talk about that. We'll actually get into that in a different video. But I want to just kind of set the framework for what businesses think about marketing and the experiences that we've at least seen. Because when you're marketing your video business, this is the mind of the companies that you're marketing to. And this is how they see and approach these kinds of things. So knowing that up front is going to help you as you start to plan out a marketing campaign or a system or a funnel, you know, whatever that looks like for your business. So I want a quick breakdown on a couple buckets that are kind of in the marketing realm. You know, you have branding, you have marketing, you have advertising, all kind of fall under that umbrella, but all very different. And it's going to be key for what you're doing and how you market your video business. So I want to start with kind of branding. You know, what do people think of when they see your brand, when they hear your name, when they see your logos on your t-shirt or your truck driving down the street, you know, whatever it is, what do people think of? I think that's extremely important, especially when you look at organic content and you're putting things out into the world and you're starting to build a reputation and a brand, and people start to equate that with, oh, they're premium, their video, they help these customers, they work with these clients. I start to recognize that and I start to equate it with different things. And all that's going to be important, and you're really the one driving that message. Still now today, but really when we were getting started, one of the things that we would constantly hear every time that we were meeting with people, I was always meeting with people, man, you guys are busy. You're all over the place. You're doing so much. Well, that was part of our branding. You know, we were putting things out into the world to show people what we were doing, being transparent with it, who we're working with, where we're working with them, what we're doing, the new stuff happening, the new hires, the new equipment. I mean, this stuff would come out and we'd be organically posting it. And that's what people started to associate our brand with, was being busy and being premium. They'd see our products, they'd see our branding and you know, our logos and our signage and all the things. And we're going, wow, MediaCore is a legitimate video business with a great brand and a great message and does great work. And that's what we wanted. So it was extremely important early on to really figure that out and drive the certain kind of messaging that you're going to want to drive so that your customers resonate with what you do. So breaking down that next step with marketing, you know, that's the value that your business is providing to somebody and being able to tell that story to them. You know, there's a lot of different ways, obviously, that you can market and communicate that message. Video for us is just one more means of communication, and that's how we talk to a lot of people. And well, what is that message? You know, it's great that I can see and recognize maybe your company or your logo and I can associate it with certain things. But what does that actually mean? What's your story? What value are you bringing to me as a business? What are you actually doing for me? You know, one of the things that we got caught up with early on too was it was kind of all about us. You know, it's like, oh, we're posting out all these things and it was super cool. But to an extent, like your friends and your fans and your followers and stuff like that, yeah, they might like that stuff. But the businesses that you're trying to attract and work with, they really want to know what's in it for them. You know, how can you actually help them? What does this mean for their business and, you know, what it's going to do? So like keep that in mind when you're doing certain things, when you're posting certain things, you know, out there, because you can't make it all about you all the time. You know, your companies or the companies that you're trying to attract, that you're trying to work with, want to know how your services and your story is going to impact what they're doing. So then you have the last step, kind of that advertising piece. You know, what is advertising? That's really like paying to put that message and that brand in front of the right people, or hopefully the right people. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that for video companies. There's plenty of platforms that'll take your money any day of the week, no problem. And but that's the trouble too, is if you don't know what you're doing, these platforms are constantly changing. The ad platforms are constantly moving. PPC on Google, Meta with Facebook and Instagram, you know, YouTube, Shorts, ads, pre-roll, OTT streaming, you know, like any way that you can put money onto the internet to kind of boost that message out there, those platforms are there to take your money. So make sure that you know what you're doing, because we've spent a lot of time, we've even had people that know what they're doing help us and still like not get the results that we wanted, what we're looking for. And it's kind of interesting too, because, you know, going back to what I said about how companies look at marketing and how video is associated to that, we're putting this message out into the world saying, hey, we do video and we do video for these companies for these reasons, and this is why we can help. Like all that stuff was on point. And our targeting was on point. We knew what our customers did and what they looked like and what the demographic and psychographic was. We did all the things. But still, you know, it didn't work. Why? A lot of these companies that you're paying to put that message in front of you aren't looking for you. You know, they may be looking for that content creator, that freelancer to come help them with something small. But if you're trying to do the kinds of videos that we're trying to do, like, people aren't actively seeking that out. You know, the reason that we are such a heavy sales company, in a relational company, is that reason itself. Sales is what worked. Sales is what helped us, you know, grow so fast. I mean, the fact that we did marketing and branding and things like that definitely helped our journey and our legitimacy and things like that, but sales is what drove the business. So when you look at marketing and you're going, why doesn't this work? Like we're putting all the pieces together. Well, they're not looking for you. The reason that our sales works is because we're creating that opportunity to talk to somebody, to meet with a business owner, to meet with a business leader, to go, hey, this is something you probably haven't really thought about before. And that message gets them thinking and planting seeds, and you're going like, wow, like this is great. I'm very interested now. But I wasn't before. I wasn't looking for that before. I wasn't actively seeking that out before. So it doesn't matter if you're doing it PPC, Facebook, Meta, anything like that, LinkedIn. If they're not looking for you, your ads aren't going to be doing anything. And most often than not, you're attracting probably the wrong person or somebody that's unqualified maybe to work with you. And I want to preface this with there are things that work out there. We're still testing it out. We're constantly trying and failing, and we want to figure this out, and we're not going to stop until we do. I'm just trying to help people understand what we've done with our experiences and skip some of those steps so that you're able to be successful faster. And that's actually something that I want to hear from you guys. So if you've done marketing and advertising and branding and things like that, where it's bringing in high ticket deals and clients to you, we want to hear about it. We're building a community here. Put that stuff down in the comments, what you've done, what you've tried, what worked, what didn't work. We want to hear from you. We want to be able to engage with you guys. So if you have had good experiences or bad experiences, throw it in the comments, let us know. So we hit on a lot of things that we've tried or didn't work or kind of worked, but I want to touch maybe more on the things that we have seen success in. When we look at, our marketing right now, we know that organic content is great. We know that putting the right things out into the world, on our website, on our socials, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, in all the right places, that it can definitely help us for sure. And a lot of those different things could be, even for building relationships with current clients. If they're following you and you're interacting with them, it's a great way to kind of consistently promote, their business and what the relationship is. And, I think that's just really important because you're here to support them. When I always tell people we win when our customers win, that's exciting for me. So to be able to to put them up and prop them up and go, hey man, these guys are awesome. And we had the ability to work with them and it was great. And hopefully they had a great experience too and they're able to speak on that. But those things are going to help when the next business is looking into you and looking at you as a potential option. And they can see what you're doing with this other company and they're like, wow, looks like they really care about them. Looks like the customers have had a great experience. That's why we do things like BTS. We want to show behind the scenes photos, posting their videos out, possibly doing a testimonial with them after. All these different things that can kind of show other people that haven't worked with you who you guys actually are, what it's actually like to work with you and do a project with you. The results that people get after they use a video and they're able to put it out and promote it and things like that. Well, what's happening for their business now? Those are the kind of things that we want to constantly kind of put out into the world, because if we're reaching out or if we're doing any kind of marketing or advertising, people are going to look into you. We all have phones, we all have the internet, we all have computers. So what are we going to do if someone reaches out? Well, we're going to look into them. I'm going to go to your website, go to your social media, go to your LinkedIn. I'm going to check you out. I'm going to compare you with other people. All that stuff is relevant. So to have the right content out there, we think is really important for us, and we know that it's helped because we've seen repeat work and referrals and stuff like that come from it. And when we're meeting with new businesses, they can look back and reference it, and they're going oh, you guys work with them. Oh, that's similar to us. That's great. So those are things that we know that have worked really well. And there's a lot of things that we've tried and are going to continually try. I would just note, anything that you do, especially in marketing, too many people try things. Oh, I'm gonna throw 100 darts at a map and see what it hits and what works, what doesn't work. Kind of the shotgun method, But the strategy really comes when you can really connect the dots. Come up with a full marketing campaign and a funnel and look at what's gonna go, how am I gonna get people into the funnel? What am I going to put out that's going to build trust and give them right information? How do I get them down to here that are actually reaching out to us and then hopefully closing business with them? If you don't have all the pieces together, it's not going to work. So don't just try this and then, oh, that didn't work. Oh, try this. Oh, that didn't really work well. Think of a full marketing campaign and a system where you can actually connect all the dots, think it through, think about what your customers need to hear and see, to keep going down that funnel, to eventually reach out and hopefully do business with you. And lastly, one of the things that I want to touch on is just to watch out for the gurus. We've been doing this a long time. We've tried a lot of different stuff. We've seen a lot of different people doing things. And what we figured out, this stuff is hard, man. Like, why do people have coaching programs? Why do gurus sell packages done for you and things like that? Why? Because it's hard. You know, they got to a certain point or maybe saw a little bit of success, but then got to a level where it's like, ooh, this isn't going well. This is too hard. So then you look and you go, well, I'm going to show other people how to do it because I'm going to sell off of the pain that I know that they're facing because I faced it too. So it's something where, like, just be cautious about the things that look too good to be true, and the things where they're just, it's all about everything's working and 10x and book all these people and close all these deals and things like that. Is there good information out there? Sure. I'm not saying everybody's got bad info. What I'm saying is just, like, be cautious because this stuff is hard and they know it's hard. So just don't get sold on this idea of this magical thing working for you, because there also isn't that many video companies that have gone past 7 figures and continually sell large ticket priced videos. Keep that in mind. Ultimately, people are looking for real. They're looking for genuine. They're looking for authenticity. Show your face, show your work, show your clients, show your people. Be open. Don't be reserved and scared about, well, what if? People love transparency. They love the realness. I've had so many people comment, even businesses that we work with, and go, like, man, like, I feel like I already knew who you guys were before we met with you. And, like, that is awesome for me, and I love that. So just be genuine. Put the right content out there. Don't try to be fake and overproduced. There's no silver bullet. There's no magical pill. Keep trying, keep refining, and do it until you start figuring out what actually works. And hey, if this hit home with you at all, if this resonated with you, like it, share it, put it out there. And seriously, leave a comment too. We want to hear from you guys. What's worked, what's not worked, what are you trying, what are you testing? And remember, we're going to keep putting videos out weekly on Mondays. So subscribe, follow along, and we'll see you on the next one.